Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Center for Conscious Living and our Sunday live stream. We are glad to have you all with us and welcome you to our broadcast. If you are not familiar with us, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we like to bring spiritual teachings and wisdom to you in this format. And what we do is, after our little announcements here, we'll have Renee, our spiritual leader, who will give some of her wisdom. She'll share some of her wisdom with us, and then we have open it up to conversation. So we are streaming on either Facebook or YouTube, which you're watching us on, and you can leave us a comment either live or after the fact. And we do like to come back and respond to those. So we invite you to join us that way, even if it's just a hello or a good morning. We love seeing that feedback. This month, our topic is living joyfully in the world without becoming of the world. And that's going to include things like how to be in the world but not of it, and why this wisdom is essential for you, and how do you prevent losing your I am identity to worldly forces. So a lot of stuff going on there. And yeah, we invite you to join us in the conversation and participate in our organization. There is a link for, if you are interested in how you can contribute as a member of our community, in the description of your respective video platform. So we invite you to check that out and learn more about us. And there's other ways for you to connect with us as well. We love making connections with our viewers. With all of that being said, I don't think there are any announcements that I can recall. We will have the next time we have one of these live streams will be next month. I believe we have that scheduled for the 21st,
Yes.
the weekend after Mother's Day. So
Yes.
we wanted to go around Mother's Day knowing that you may be busy with some plans. So with all of that being said, I will hand it off to Renee to start us off.
Thank you, Spencer. Hello, everyone. It is so good to be with you again in April. And we are now once a month, as Spencer said. So if you ever get confused about what date, there's a couple of ways you can keep up with it. If you're on Facebook, I put an event up. If you are on our email list, if you're not, I encourage you to do that. You'll get an email. It's like once a week, but the week before you'll get a special email that reminds you, that we're coming up. Let me check this. Sometimes people send me messages if my sound is off or something. Nope, it looks good. Okay. Also, if you're ever not sure, go to our website. I know that's on in the information. SCfCL.org. It's on the homepage. We have a banner button right there to click to go live. Real easy. Also, we have a scheduled events page. It's on there. So if you ever are not sure, gosh, what day are they going to be live? We do our best to keep it very visible for you, to make it easy for you to join us. We do appreciate you joining us live when you can. And also the same links get you to the replay if you can't be with us live. So we thank you for being with us. We love the energy of your presence. I know Spencer said that. I just want to reiterate that. Your participation by comments. And when we get to the conscious conversation, the second half of our live stream, and you have a comment or a question, we really do value that, because we are here to support you in your spiritual path, and specifically around the concept of conscious living. So let's get to that conversation today. So the first thing I'm going to do is the format we have is I'm going to give a little bit of a teaching about it, some wisdom about the topic for today, and then lead you through something I call an energy immersion. It's a very meditative experience, and Spencer manages that in the background, brings in some music. Then we come back together, and Spencer will facilitate the conversation. And we'll have questions, anything you'd like to ask. So let's begin. And to do that, we want to get very centered and grounded. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Oh, exhale with sound. When you exhale with sound, it helps ground in your body, helps your energy open, at the same time ground. It takes energy through your vagus nerve, which is very good for your health. That deep breath with the sound. Another deep breath, please. Ooh, exhale with sound. And now just bring your focus softly in your mind and fully in your heart and in your body. So we're going to talk today, as Spencer said, living joyfully in the world without becoming of it. Last week was Easter. I hope you had a wonderful Easter holiday. It's a time that we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus the Christ. Whether you follow Christianity or another particular religion or faith or just a spiritual path that's not specifically religion, Jesus the Christ is most definitely a revered master teacher, master spiritual teacher in the world, accomplished phenomenal miracles in a very young life. And so we want to commemorate that. It's something that we like to do once or twice a year. Other masters as well. This month, the teaching, Jesus, of course, had many amazing, wonderful teachings. The one I chose to focus on this month is his teaching that was basically the text that comes out of Scripture, was captured of what he taught, the best it could be captured, of course, was to be in the world, but not of it. So take a breath and just feel into that for a moment. Be in the world, but not of the world. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? How does that feel? Do you feel any resistance to being in the world? Do you feel resistance to be in the world without becoming of it? Do you feel confusion about what it means? What do you feel? If you want to comment, that would be great. But at least within yourself, just make self-inquiry. How do I feel about that? Is it clear? Or is it confusing? Am I agreeable to that? Am I willing to set an intention to be that? I invite you to do that, and we're going to practice that today. We're going to explore more about it. I have a tickly nose today. Excuse me for that. So now, let's first talk about the teaching points today. There are 3 of them. Spencer went over them. The first one, what does it mean to be in the world but not of it? What does that really mean? It is an integral part of conscious living. If you're a person who's choosing to be a conscious, aware, spiritual master of your life, you choose to know and take responsibility for creating the life you want, rather than a person who blames others, a person who expects the government to do it for you, expects some religious organization to do it for you, expects your family, your neighbors, your job, your people at work or group of friends to be the source of your happiness and well-being, a partner, anybody, any other living being. If you are expecting them to be responsible for your happiness, that is not conscious living. That's very unconscious. And that is the opposite of spiritual mastery, self-mastery in the spiritual realm. So what it means to choose to commit and have conviction and courage to follow through on that commitment, set the intention, I choose self-mastery. So I want to say it this way. What that means is, you know who you are, a divine being of light, having a human experience, and you are master of yourself, not others. So feel into that. What does that feel like to you? Does it feel like freedom? Does it feel scary, like a heavy responsibility? Just say this to yourself. I choose mastery of myself, not others. What comes up emotionally, mentally, in your body, physically, sensations, trepidation, excitement? It's like, wow, that sounds like fun, freedom. Or, oh dear, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I can do it. anything in between or anything else that comes up. What comes up for you? Let us know if you feel like it, putting it in the comments. And I said that intentionally this way. I said, if you'll notice, I said, you are master of yourself, not others. That actually has a couple of meanings. One is you are masters rather than letting others have mastery over you, letting others tell you who to be, tell you limits about who you can be and what you can choose to create for yourself. Another way to interpret that, which is very important, is you are master of yourself, not attempting to have mastery over others. A lot of energy is expended and wasted trying to control others in order to be happy within yourself. So conscious living is a principle where you choose to have mastery of yourself. You choose to create. And it's an from the inside out creation. It's not if I can just get these other people to behave the way I want them to, then I will be happy. That's totally unconscious. That's absolutely very controlling behavior. That is not self-mastery. Self-mastery is, I will learn if I don't already know, and to the extent I know, I will still continue to improve and perfect it. I choose to have mastery over my energy, my thoughts, my belief systems, so that I consciously and purely create the life I choose. Purely meaning without creating duality. Me versus them, comparing yourself to the world, and then letting that tell you who you are based on what social media and news media says is standard, normal, good, bad, right, wrong. You choose. And it also means without polarity of, okay, I want to have this, but I have this limited belief because the world says you can't have it all. So if I'm going to have good health, well, then I'll probably have, I can't really commit to a job or a work that takes a lot of energy. That's limited belief. You have to sacrifice one thing to have the other. Same thing with relationships. People will sacrifice relationships to have a successful career, right? Do you sacrifice successful career or financial well-being in order to not outshine anyone? Family, friends, maybe just the fear of being too bright and radiant in your life. Do you know that's actually one of the most common human challenges? Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. So the second topic I wanted to cover is, why is this particular spiritual wisdom essential for your well-being? Well, I just touched on it. It's very common in the human culture, mass consciousness, not the more awakening consciousness, but the collective that's still struggling to realize they are a divine being. They are an individuated expression of the divine, uniquely as they are designed to be. And they have mastery over what they do with that amazing, sacred gift of life with a capital L, life. We have mastery to focus and flow energy. We have mastery to set our consciousness at a high frequency and stop allowing in the environment and other people's beliefs to limit how evolved we will become in our consciousness, how expanded we will allow our aliveness to be. And from that, we then are able to have a very elevated lifestyle, the kind of lifestyle that is highly conscious. We have sacred honor for all life. We think about how we spend money. We think about what we say. We're very conscious about it and intentional. Not perfect, perhaps, as perfect as we can be in the experience we have, in the expansion we've achieved, but certainly not a standard of never having a mistake or a setback in life. That's part of the human experience of learning mastery. So that it is so essential so that you choose consciously the frequency you carry, and you let that be the creative force in your life, because that frequency is the divine flowing to you, through you, as you in the world. And we get the sacred honor of directing that energy through our focus, through what we accept and allow in our energy field. And we don't do that by control. We do that by holding the frequency and simply emanating it, choosing it, not holding it like gripping it tight, just being in it, standing in it. Jesus was a master of that. That's all, all those miracles. And he said, not only can you do the things I've done, you can do even greater things. He didn't even say can, he said, you will. You will. He understood we would evolve beyond even the capacity at that time in history. So we would continue to evolve our ability to harness the power of life force, the power that creates worlds, divinity expressing, moving life forward in a creative, loving, beautiful expansion. We would evolve our mastery of that. And he demonstrated it beautifully, powerfully. He resurrected at least three in scriptures, at least 3 people that were pronounced dead, and he resurrected them. He was able to hold the space of life so purely and powerfully for them that they could come back to life, of course, because they chose. He wouldn't have done it, forced it on someone. And then the resurrection of himself. That's amazing mastery of the energy of life force within your own energy field. So imagine having such a clear and strong radiance about yourself. You know who you are, and you're able to be it so consistently that you're in a beautiful synchronistic flow with the energy of life force, God force, the divine, spirit, soul, the power that creates worlds, the power that is life within you, is life within all beings. You're in sync with that. And how would that change your perspective of life? Would you allow more joy in? Would you have less fear about anything? I think you would. What do you think? All right, let's go to the next teaching point today, the third one. How do you prevent losing that I am identity that I just described to the forces of, quote, the world? What I mean by worldly forces would be the fear of people in power, governments, groups of people, a single person with, a weapon, real life threatening in the human realm, life threatening events or diseases, pandemics, things like that. Fear of not being enough. It's a very common, the most common human fear is not being enough to either survive or thrive in the human realm. And what happens is when you allow all of that to be what you believe is powerful, the most powerful force above the force of divine energy flow, divine life force, divine love as creation, the power of divine love is the creative force. So that creation force, think about a seed. the force it takes to break open that seed for that little tiny, frail plant form to begin emerging. It's an amazing power. That's the true power of life. That's the true power of life. That exists beyond any human creation at the level of humanity, at the level of consciousness that is the denser, fear-based, controlling, manipulating, greedy, what we've talked about predatory, usurping energy from other human beings for power, for a sense of power or sense of importance or validation in the moment, even with a more honorable intention, not knowing there's a better way. That's still a very destructive way to go about trying to survive and thrive. Compared with, you know who you are. You know there is a divine power and presence available with you, in you, and all around you in every moment. And you turn to that every moment you need anything. Every moment you choose something, not just a need, even a desire for the joy of creation. You turn to that and you use that as your energy source. Think about the difference in the world. If you know groups of people who live that way, such as this, our community, you already know how wonderful it feels to participate in connections like that, to engage with life in that way. You already know it. So now, will you commit? Will you have the courage to commit and maintain a conviction consistently? I'm not asking perfectly, but consistently, to live that way in the world so that you don't become of it. You are mastery and you enjoy this beautiful life experience rather than struggle and suffer to overcome one challenge after another in the world, because the world has overcome you to some extent. You've allowed yourself to succumb to this constricted belief system, which is designed to keep some people powerful and some people not powerful. Some people wealthy, some people not. Some people happy, free, creating, being their whole self and respected and honored, however diverse that is. And others, rather than, the old archaic way of only certain people can be in power and that has to be maintained at any cost. As cruel as it might be, that's the old system, but it's much improved, and I'm thankful. There's still remnants of that, though. We all know it. We see it, Okay. So we want to cultivate a practice of that. To do that, let's go into an energy immersion, and I'm going to walk you through a practice that you can do daily. And I implore you to do this for yourself daily. Every month, I give you a practice. Please do it. Don't just do it once. Do it all month and then come back. Every week, I send an email with wisdom and suggestions for you. Read that email and take action on it for yourself. For yourself. And then every month, come back and learn something new and apply it again through the rest of the month on a daily basis. That is how you develop mastery. And if you have resistance to that, ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of being that powerful? Are you afraid people in your life will fall away if you really shine brightly and boldly? Well, I invite you to bring that fear into this process right now, and we'll help you quell the fear and choose differently. Okay? Choose higher. Okay, Spencer, I know you have music for us. Thank you for that. Everyone take another deep breath. Exhale with sound. Whoa. And now we're going to do what we call a breathing box. One deep breath for about 3 or 4 seconds. Hold for about 3 or 4 seconds. Exhale. And now pause. Now a very deep, slow breath. And a very deep, thorough exhale all the way through your fingers, toes. Let light come out your crown, cascade around you. Soften your focus here, drop into your heart again. Open your energy field. Open your energy field to pure source, not to me, to source, God force, life force, the power that creates worlds, the universe, spirit, the light of the one. And now, let's bring that fear in, whatever that fear might have been, whether it's tiny or big, the fear of mastery in the world. Self-mastery as a spiritual being of light, enjoying a beautiful human experience in the world, but not of it. Participating in it and all the beauty it offers, all the joy it offers that you choose to participate in, only by your choice, without succumbing to dominating, limiting belief systems that cause fear. And being very safe, secure, stable, serene as you do this. Now, if there's a fear, allow that fear to just be. Don't try to quell it. Don't try to change it. Let it be just for a moment. Just take a step back and observe it instead of being immersed in it. Step back. Take a breath. Breath is a wonderful way to help loosen the hold of fear because you're taking in the energy of the divine. You take in breath, life force. Let the fear be. Just let it be. It's here to teach you something, reveal something to you. It's not here to dominate you and control you. You can choose to let that happen, or you can choose to just observe the fear and let it pass. Observe it and realize, oh my gosh, I have a fear that I didn't know I had. I choose to release that fear now. I choose instead to experience love and joy, truth and beauty, peace and mastery. Take a breath. Now let's choose love, joy, the creation of something you really want to experience with joy, with ease, with clarity, with certainty, in a way that feels very stable and steady and very sure, peaceful, serene. Are you willing to allow the power of life force to support you in this creation? Are you willing to cultivate the mastery, to focus on this creation and so clearly that you feel it? You feel it as if it is already done for you, and as if it's already been made manifest. And you allow yourself to be guided and inspired to the appropriate action that comes in a state of flow, not in a state of frenzy and stress and strain, and not sacrifice and suffer and struggle, None of that. Action that feels good, that you enjoy. Yes, it might be new and offer some challenges. And when that happens, you turn back to align with divine power and presence, open to be guided. What's the next step? What's a resource I need? Allow it to be brought to you. Allow yourself to be brought to it. That's living in a flow state. That's conscious creation from a high vibrational state, not the lower dense fear-based creation, which means you created something to overcome. And then once that's done, you create something else unconsciously to overcome. Don't create from that. Create for joy, not for overcoming. There's so much in the human realm that teaches the hero's journey of mastering one challenge after another, the victim that overcomes. We don't have to create that way. We can create for joy. We can create with an easeful flow, learning and expanding. But that's not the same as overcoming through struggle and sacrifice, suffering and fear-based creation. Be in the world, but not of it, not of the pain and suffering of humanity. We can have compassion for ourselves and others when that happens. And then for yourself, choose, no, that is not who I am. That is not how I choose creation. I choose mastery. I choose creation that is love-based, not fear-based, that flows with joy, that flows with new experiences that feel good to me. And when there's an uncertainty, I know to come back, align, when my mind and heart in a beautiful flow and balance, open my heart to source and let the wisdom come, let the guidance come, and let the miracles happen. The collapsing of time for something you need, the collapsing of the gap between where you are and where that is, and the resources that need to come into play. Let that be fulfilled for you. As Jesus would say, let the mountain be moved for you. Let the storm be calmed for you. Let the sea be parted for you. Let the way be made clear, smoothed, and lighted for you, lit for you. Allow that. Allow the support of the universe for you. And turn to align with, attune to, and allow divine presence and power to guide you and uplift you and inspire the next step that's ideal for you to create what you choose in life, and primarily to cultivate self-mastery. That's what the creation is for the exquisite experience of self-mastery, mastery of your energy field, your belief systems, your alignment with the divine. And now, dear one, take another breath, please. A deep breath. Take several slowly. As you bring your focus back, we'll have a conversation, answering any questions you might have, sharing any ahas that you might have had if you'd like. Bring your focus back as you're ready. And I know Spencer's coming back too. So we'll take a moment. I'm going to review the topic and the 3 points before we go into conversation, and then I'll turn it over to Spencer to facilitate that. Again, our topic is living joyfully in the world without becoming of the world. And we had 3 teaching points. Number 1, what does it mean to be, as Jesus said, in the world, but not of it? Number 2, why is this spiritual wisdom essential for your well-being? Number 3, how do you prevent losing your I am identity to worldly forces? So if there's any expansion on those ideas, please bring it. Or if you just have comments or some insight you want to share, an aha you experienced, we welcome it. All right, Spencer, take it away, please.
Yeah, thanks, Renee. Just want to say welcome everybody to the conversation portion of our service today, and wanted to invite again everybody, if you want to join, anybody who's interested in sharing their experience and asking a question, any of that variety. It doesn't even have to pertain to our theme or topic. We're here to answer those, and we welcome any of that in your feedback. You can do so on your respective platform in the comments section. On YouTube, we do have it set that you have to subscribe to our channel for at least 5 minutes. So if you've done that already, great. Otherwise, you can subscribe now and listen for 5 minutes, and then you'll be able to ask your question. So that's just a way to keep bots out of the chat there. So we welcome you in doing that. We do ask, as you are asking questions or presenting comments or situations, that you do consider everybody involved and keep things as anonymous as possible and respect their privacy as much as we respect yours. So thank you for joining and watching, and please join us in conversation today.
Wonderful. So while people might be formulating a comment or a question or just an insight, is there anything you want to share? Any insights that came up for you, or thoughts, ideas, questions?
It's weird. I had a lot that did come up, but now I've kind of, like, it hasn't stuck with me. So I don't want to say I've forgotten it, because it's like I remembered that it felt like something had shifted. But it's like
Good.
I don't remember the exact, specifics of it. I just remember it kind of um dealing with the like the fear that in my dealings with people, that they might be getting more than me. And that's kind of like some sort of trigger inside of me, that if somebody asks me to do a very simple, capable task that I know they're capable of, that it just is like, it just irks me. And then I kind of like, why don't you get yourself a glass of water? Why don't, like, just Google it, rather than like being helpful, not realizing it's like, well, they're asking me for help. I know they're capable of it, but just, does the 30 seconds max that it takes to do that, is that really that big of an issue that you're going to be upset about it? And I
Well,
don't know how well that relates to our topic today, but that's kind of what was coming up for me in just um this little, like, irksome feeling I get when people ask for help on simple things. Like complex things, oh, you need me to move a couch, or you need me to do this or that, sure, but it's just simple kindness that sometimes gets my goat. So I don't know what that's about, but definitely worth digging into.
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that you were vulnerable, to share that. And I do think it relates very much to the topic. And I think so we're going to approach it. You know how we do this, Spencer, and the rest of you, I say this for you. We're going to approach it by first, always, this is how conscious living works. You first go within yourself to see what's going on, right? Like Spencer said, why am I having that trigger, right? And then you look at the dynamic happening between you, the energy dynamic that's happening between yourself and the other person or a group of people. Because the energy, when you untangle the energy, it's resolved. And until you untangle any kind of enmeshed or entangled energy, you'll just keep having that pattern with other people. So that's why you don't try to change from the outside first, you change inside first. And so it's interesting that I do think it applies, because Spencer, it is common and to anyone else who has this experience, and I invite others listening now or later on the replay to think about people in your life. Maybe do you find yourself doing that with people, or do you have people who do that with you? And what that's the dynamic of that is a dynamic of wanting to be kind of have attached to somebody. Like people want to, instead of creating for themselves, wanting someone else to create for them. It can be a triangulation, like it could be like instead of you and source, it's you and source, but it goes through this other person to come back to you. It's like it's source energy should be coming directly to you, but instead you let it come to the other person and you get it from them, or you give it to them and they, instead of them getting it from source. So it can go both ways, right? And so it is actually a very common pattern. It's funny because I was just talking about this yesterday to someone about the idea in psychology of an attachment disorder, where people, have something in childhood where they didn't really feel safe and secure and sometimes for reasons that were, parents were dealing with maybe something tragic and very traumatic. And so doing their best to be a good parent, the child still didn't feel safe and secure because it was just a tumultuous situation. And so what can happen is that person then constantly tries to have other people sort of fill the role of the parent, loving them by caretaking for them when they're perfectly capable in it as an adult, right? So it can be a very innocent beginning to it that the person just doesn't realize they're still doing it as an adult. It also can be the reverse, where the person, the only way they know to feel love is to create people who depend on them to meet their needs, to kind of rescue and save, or caretake beyond what is really healthy for adults. Now, we're not talking about adults that actually are, have health situations where they do need a caretaker. We're talking about healthy, functioning adults. And so it is an interesting triangulation of energy. So I wonder if what came up for me as you were talking is it possible that the trigger is that in the past you participated in it, you're not wanting to anymore, and when the pattern comes up again within yourself, there's this like, why am I in this situation? Is that the trigger? See what I mean? Why am I in the dynamic? Not just why are they doing it, but why am I in having this experience?
Um, yeah, I don't know if I've gone that deep. I've gone. I know that it's something that is from my past. It goes all the way back to my childhood, and I remember frequent moments of eating dinner with my family, and I would be up and let's grab another slice of pizza, and then it was one of my sisters would ask, "Hey, give me a glass of water, would you?" And it's just like, really? You can get, and the phrase that we would use as kids is, God gave you legs, use them, and sort of a thing towards each other. So like goes all the way back to that. I remember that, like I'll never forget. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe I won't ever forget it, but it's just one of those things that I remember, and
yeah.
saying that, and that was our response to each other. And I think it comes back to feeling like that kindness was not always reciprocated. Like if I were to ask them to do it, it would be like a no. So it's kind of like one of those who's gonna blink first type of a deals. Like who's going to do it first. So I think that's what it is. And now in adulthood, it happens with my sister too. Like she'll say we are having, dinner the other day, and can you get me a glass of water? And I do, I say, yeah, but there's still like that little, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like I have to say, just be quiet, like just quiet. Like that's no longer relevant. You're just helping somebody out. Um, so I think it comes down to like a fear of not getting this reciprocal treatment, not getting something that's reciprocal.
That's great awareness. And is it really, it could be true that you're not. Is it really true, or is it a fear of that? I mean, do you know which one it is? It's not right or wrong either way.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think part of it is just jealousy that I am too timid to ask, like jealousy of my sister, whoever's in that situation. Just ask for
Oh,
something they want. Like,
yeah,
hey, would you get me, while you're up, would you get me this or that? I think
right.
I think part of it's that. Um, and I think that part of it is, just um I think a lot of it is just fear that it's not reciprocal. I'm sure if I asked that I would be treated that way, but I just don't. Um I think there are a couple instances in my life where it has been true, that it hasn't just been a fear. Um but I think for the
Well,
most part it's
that I have, that I encourage you to have compassion with yourself, because, if you have lived that in whatever relationships, different relationships, it can create a pattern that, without meaning to, you take on that's becoming of the world. You take on this sort of worldly belief that other people have a right to ask for what they want, but you don't. Does that ring true at all? Is there a little bit of that there?
say that one more time for me. It didn't quite hit.
Well, if you've actually lived it,
Mhm.
where other people don't, would ask, but then if you ask, they would say no, they wouldn't reciprocate.
Right.
That does create this belief system. It can create a belief
Right.
system that, okay, other people have the right to ask for whatever they want, bold as whatever, but me, I can't. You can be trained that way by
Mm.
people without that's becoming of the world, where you let someone else tell you who you are or who you can and cannot be.
Right.
So it is possible that it did sort of get trained into you. That, I don't
Huh.
know, I'm just asking you that, if you actually experienced it.
Well, I mean, this is kind of going off of when you said that a second time, it's kind of going off our friend Michael's teachings. And
Right, right.
the first thing that jumped into my head was like, I remember being told in like preschool, we would
Mm-hmm.
have cookies and apple juice. And I liked cookies and milk, but we didn't have milk with cookies and apple juice. And I was dunking my cookies in apple juice because they were like ginger snaps. And I thought, hey, apple, that kind of tasted good. And I remember the teacher telling me, you can't do that. And like took the stuff away from me. So maybe that's, I don't kind of where, like,
Right,
I'm like,
right.
well, why? I just wanted to enjoy a different flavor.
Well, this is it's a great example of being in the world but not of it, because it's so innocent,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's really very innocent. Nobody's doing anything mean to you, and sometimes when they're innocent, it's it's like you don't let yourself explore it because it's so innocent. It seems so benign.
Right.
Yeah, it does actually create you either agree without meaning to, going back to the four agreements. We children get trained like we train our pets. They get trained what they're allowed to have, who they can be and who they can't be, what they can express and what they can't express, right? To get rewarded or punished,
Right.
even if scolding, it's like a sort of a shaming that's not, we would say not severe, but it can leave a mark on you, right?
Right.
So you're an innocent little child, and you're just doing something with a cookie because it seems like a great idea and you're enjoying it. What harm is it causing, right? Who knows why she did it? I mean, she or he, had a reason. maybe just because they were very much in the box thinking instead of out of the box, or maybe they thought if everybody did it, it'd be a big mess, or
Right,
who
right,
knows. So the why doesn't matter. It happened, right? And so your reaction to it was, why can't I? It's like, I can't express myself if the other person doesn't agree with it.
right.
Would that be accurate?
That sounds, yeah, it does sound accurate.
And so now, isn't it wonderful that now other people ask you to do a small thing, like like being allowed to dip the
Yeah,
cookie
yeah.
in the apple juice instead of the milk because it wasn't milk. And they didn't have that training. It didn't get programmed in them for whatever reason. And so they ask. And you still have the right to say yes or no. You are sovereign. You can say yes or no. And the trigger is not about the choice to say yes or no. It's about not giving yourself permission, and or it's triggering an old wound that you're ready to let go of.
Mm.
So which one do you think it is? Triggering the wound you want to let go of, or
Yeah, I
maybe
think
something?
it's yeah, maybe a little bit of both, but I think it's definitely something that is like just yeah, it's just triggering the old wound and um yeah, and maybe just like a little bit of a reminder, like if you're afraid of it not being reciprocal, you never take the opportunity to ask similar things of the people you're interacting with. You never,
Right.
so it's like maybe just a reminder, like you can give yourself that opportunity to ask for somebody to do something for you. You don't have to be so I got my own glass of water. I got up and I got myself my own serving of food or whatever. Why do I need to do it for you too? Sort of a thing.
Yes. Yes. And I think it's great that you're looking at it, because if you give yourself a teeny permission like that, what other permissions will you start
Right.
giving? Now, the thing is, when you ask, the person has the right to say yes or no,
Hmm.
right? And so I just want to, just for everybody listening, this isn't about getting other people to change. This is about exploring yourself and breaking out of limitations you've imposed on yourself that you didn't know you had, that you might be telling yourself that other people are putting on you. But in reality, when you get down to it, you're actually participating in it, if not doing it completely. So when you ask, if you choose to in the future, whoever you ask might say no. How do you want to handle it when that happens? If that happens.
Well, I think that maybe I'm not sure how I would handle that. I don't know how, you know, similar or semantics this is, but I feel like what I do is if I am visiting with somebody else, like I don't ask them that, but a lot of times they'll offer. So like if I go over, so I mentioned my sister before and I love her and I don't think she's done anything wrong in this situation at all. But like I'll
Right.
go over to my sister's house and she'll say, "Oh, you want a glass of water?" And like she'll offer that up freely versus me. I'm kind
Right.
of like, yeah, do it yourself, And in
Yes.
some situations, I'm like that, So she'll offer me a glass of water, and I'll say, "Oh no, I got it." So I'm not an imposition, but like maybe I need to take that which is being offered rather than being afraid of being an imposition to somebody, and kind of loosening that up and just allowing to that it's kind of blocking up what I'm receiving is what that's doing.
Yeah. Like it, can you see how there's a polarity belief there
Mm-hmm.
that in order to have something I really want, I can't just allow it. I have to make it
Right.
happen.
Right.
Just all me. And I totally get it, because I was raised with, don't you dare impose on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be a hot 100-degree day and you can't ask for a drink of water,
Right.
because literally I had an experience like that as childhood. It's like, if you do, you're imposing. So yeah, I mean, it's weird how we get these little programs, and you're right. That's a block of allowing energy to flow in freely to you.
Mm.
So yeah. So my suggestion is play with it.
Yeah.
as an observer, like we just did in the meditation experience, where you notice, you just practice the awareness of it. So ask, see how you feel inside when you ask. When you feel kind of tense about it, it will, it could cause the other person to go, no, and they don't even know why they're saying no,
Yeah.
right? Because that's because the energy feels off, right? So as you feel more comfortable with it, just notice the people that say yes to it. And then notice how it feels when you receive it,
Hmm.
also the asking and the receiving. And then if the person says no, try, do your best to just observe it as this. I'm just playing with this to see how I feel and how I choose to be, not a test of the other person, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, I'm kind of, it sounds really silly and kind of foolish, but I think that those things kind of add up, especially when um listening, thinking back to how this conversation went, there was just a lot of feelings of me being afraid to ask for things, and it's like really that kind of comes down to like being afraid to receive certain
Right.
things from certain people. Um yeah, I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
as minuscule as like a glass of water might seem, but just saying, yeah, and then recognizing that's that person doing the thing that they're asking me for without being asked.
Yes.
And just being able
Yeah.
to kind of let go of that little irksome poke that I get whenever somebody asks me for something small.
Right. And so everybody listening, I invite you to think about, to what degree do you hold in from asking? Like, do you ask people, do you ask the universe for something? And then do you scrunch up and kind of get ready for rejection? Or like I had a childhood where I'd be punished, for asking for something. So do you get, and I've had to, I still work on it. I still see it sometimes, allow others to support you without obligation. Now, that's the other thing is, do you ask, are you afraid of asking and receiving? So everybody listening, ask yourself, do you have do you sort of hold back asking and then allowing yourself to receive? Because it might be entangled. There might be that attachment energy going on, right? And then you have an obligation, even something small. It's like they add up and then you have an obligation, right? Because the reality is, there's nothing wrong with you bringing the glass of water to your sister or anyone else every time they ask you, and them never doing it for you. It's not wrong. It's a choice for each of you. And, people, a person that might say no, we're not saying your sister would say no, but if there's a person who would say no, there's something going on that happened in their mind that's not about you. Another 4 agreements: don't take it personally. It's actually not about you, it's about them.
Mm.
Yeah, that's actually a lot from a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
teeny little thing, right?
And you definitely see how it builds. I definitely see how it can kind of build from there all the way up into my adult life, and kind of
Yeah.
untangling that ball of stuff going on.
Yeah, and one other thing for everyone listening to think about, you too, Spencer, if you choose to, is notice when you don't even allow yourself to receive from yourself. You know what I mean? Like you limit yourself even from nurturing and nourishment and giving yourself joy and pleasure. The things that bring joy and pleasure, do you limit? Well, I can only have so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awareness. It's good awareness.
Yep.
To be masterful, we have to be aware.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there any comment or a question that somebody's brought up that we want to address today?
I just double checked, and I know that the past couple times it hadn't been showing up accurately on Facebook, but I do not see any comments.
Okay. I know sometimes there's a delay, so we try to give everyone plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a question and we haven't answered it, go ahead. If you haven't left it, go ahead and leave it and I'll see it and we'll come back. or if you have and it just isn't showing up yet, we'll come back and answer it. Okay. Sometimes that happens too. So let's
And
go ahead.
I would just like to say, and if it's something that you're feeling maybe a little too timid or a little too
Yeah.
apprehensive, since that's kind of the topic of conversation here and don't want to ask in public, you can always go to our website and there's a connect with us page. So just go to scfcl.org and you can send us an email and work with Renee privately on that.
Yes. I'm glad you said that. In fact, that's another thing to bring up is we are looking at offering maybe once a month or so private Zoom gathering where people can come in and ask questions about anything they want to ask questions about, or just to get together and connect with people who are practicing conscious living and share, insights or practice it with people who will will do their best to reciprocate. So if that's of interest to you, do send me an email. The email is on the website, on every page at the bottom of the website, but you can also send it directly to me, Renee, at spiritualcenterforconsciousliving.org, and let me know. We're looking at getting that set up. We've had a few people that said yes. So when we get a certain number where it feels like will be a good group, we will go ahead and get that started. And I encourage you to participate in our email because that's how we communicate. When we give out free things, they go out through the email. So I do encourage you to participate in our email community. And let's see, what else have I forgotten? A reminder that again, May 21st, 10 a.m. Eastern will be our May live stream. So we'll be back again then. There will be emails every week in between. I will send the replay out today or tomorrow from today. And let's see, if you have a topic you would like us to cover, there's a form you can send it to, or you can just email me and we welcome. You can put it in the comments, however you want to do it. If there's a topic you want us to cover, please let us know. We'll be glad to do it. So I think that's it for now. I do want to say again how much we appreciate our regular participants who join live. And I know we have people in a lot of different time zones, so most people end up watching replay. We appreciate you too. Please don't think we don't. Please don't be shy about asking a question if you're watching on a replay, because it will be answered on either YouTube or Facebook when you put a comment there. And we have people who are financial contributors regularly to us. And that means a lot to us because we do have business expenses or operating expenses. And that helps us to maintain what we're doing. We are also growing. We're working on video courses. We're working on, in the future, having a live or hybrid live/online combination event. And all of that, of course, requires funds to book the venue and arrange everything for people to have comfortable experience. So materials and things to learn. So all of it matters. So for those of you who are regular or just even new and at one time, we thank you. The financial contributions, the energy of your presence is what we cherish above all. And then we thank you for being with us now. And we invite you to come back again in May 21st. And also to please engage with us, love, share it with somebody who would enjoy learning this information. Please do that. And send us questions, comments. We would love to hear from you. Anything else you want to add, Spencer?
Nope, I think you covered it all.
Okay, you all have a wonderful rest of the month. And we remember, practice every week, every day, even practice this awareness, practice it. I'll send out emails with little reminders and little wisdoms to help you with it. And then in May, we'll start on a new topic. Okay. Much love and blessings to you. Have a lovely rest of your day.